Let's start the discussion about Scala. We have seen a lot of programming language with respect to the Scala. The major concern about the Scala is Scala supports both functional and object oriented scenarios. For that purpose itself, the Scala becomes most popular as it supports functional and object oriented. We can also call it as a Scala as a purely object oriented program. Here every action, everything, every related the entity we are saying as an object, and every action maybe we are proceeding with the method calls itself. For that purpose itself, I am calling this Scala as also purely object oriented programming language with respect to the functional programming language also. And here on top of this Scala, if you want to understand more in detail and how the invention goes on, means the Scala invention is started in the year of 2001 and it is initiated by the Martin Odersky. And here after 2004 it has taken 3 years to development. In 2004 it first version was released and on top of the Java virtual machine. The first version is released on top of the Java virtual machine, and few months later it has got released with respect with the help of .NET framework. Fine. On top of this, the major invention of this Scala, it is aimed to perform the concise, and if you want to perform some types of operations, for this purpose itself we have to take the Scala as a major programming language at the time. At the time we have a lot of programs are there, but on top of this programming language they want to build one elegant programming language which expresses the type safe and concise priorities. On top of this, for this purpose itself, the Scala has been popular, and we are using for the developing most of the applications. By using Scala we can develop the web applications, we can develop the desktop applications, we can perform any mobile gaming applications. We can use a lot of things by using Scala itself. And if you want to consider more in detail about Scala, means Scala, however, we are already discussed about Scala is both object oriented and functional programming concepts. On about this, the Scala is a statically typed. What is meant by statically typed means, if you have some other than Scala programming language also there. If you compare with the other programming language, Scala is a statically typed. What is meant by statically typed means, we have to get a small understanding about, and we have to take some additional one example about. Suppose let's consider one example. Suppose I am taking the x value as 10. As I want to store the value of 10 means we have to declare the x value as integer. Yes, in the normal programming language or C, C++ or Java, we have to doing like that only. I need to declare this value as a integer. But in Scala we no need to declare about the data type. If you give directly x is 10 like that, means the Scala execution engine, the compiler itself, it will take it as x as a integer. Of course it is not the matter of the statical type. As the statical type means, as the first data type it will take as a integer. If we suddenly change the type and we want to give the data as string, fine, it cannot take the data, it cannot overwrite the data. Suppose what's the declaration and what are the things we are declaring in as the initial manner, it holds the same data type and it accepts only those kind of data types itself. It cannot accept these things and it accepts only these kind of updations. Fine. For this purpose itself, I am saying as a Scala is a statically typed. We have some of the dynamically typed languages also there, like if you consider some Python. The Python is some dynamically typed language. If you consider, suppose as the first concern I am giving the value as string. Fine. In the second iteration again, if you change the value, means it doesn't give any error, it takes the data. For this purpose itself, we are giving the Python and other programming languages dynamically typed dynamically typed languages. But here the Scala is a statically typed. It is related to the type of the data. It accepts only single type of data, whether it may be we are updating the many times of values. Again we have different kind of variable concepts is also there on top of this. What is meant by statical type means, this is we cannot change the type of the data with respect to the values. Fine. I hope you guys are understand with the statically typed and dynamical type. And on top of this, Scala is also performs the operations or executes the things in a faster manner by comparing with the other programming languages. If you consider Java or any programming language, you have to write a huge amount of code, but in the Scala we have to give the line. If you compare about lines, the number of lines means it will be reduced as a in efficient manner. Suppose if you consider as the Java, fine. If you compare with the Java means, suppose if you want to declare some list of 5 integers, how you can perform in Java means you have to take the, suppose if you want to give some 5, I want to add 5 names, how you can perform? We have to consider string. Suppose I am taking the string, obviously we have to take one of the list types like array list or map or any kind of things. Suppose I am taking the array list. For the declaration itself we have to do a lot of things. Fine. How you can add the things to the existing array list? We have to use the method called add. Okay, I add the values. Fine. Like this I need to add the things, right? Suppose if you consider if you want to perform same actions in the manner of Scala, what we have to do? This is I wrote in the manner of Java. Suppose if you consider the actions in a Scala, how you can perform means we have to take single list itself. That is simply if you want to take the define the any value as a L. Suppose any value means we can directly write the list of you can give the values as it directly, no need to mention about the different kinds of array initializations and operations by taking the things. No need to take all these things. You can directly write the values to our existing list as part of the Scala syntax. And in the most of the cases, the Scala is also optional by comparing with the other programming languages. In C++, Java means we have to give the semicolon as a termination operator, but in the Scala it is an optional. You can give that, or whether it may be based on the scenario itself, we have to take the concept of semicolon. And this is by comparing with the simple line itself, you can consider the Scala is also most comparative with the other programming languages. Fine. However, we can also work with the Spark, also any programming, we have a lot of advanced concepts there on top of HADOOP. We can also work with the Java or any kind of things. But Scala is most prominent to work with the HADOOP or most of the frameworks. If you consider what are the frameworks are related to this Scala and what is the general purpose of utilization of this Scala on top of huge amount of data, different kinds of data varieties, means let's have a simple lookup. And unlike we are working with the, if you compare with the Java means the Java supports all the primitive data types and all the things, right? The Scala doesn't have the primitive data types and wrapper classes. However, we have both the things in a Java programming language. Most of the cases we have to compare this Scala with the Java programming languages with the structures and definitions, but we have some of the differences with the Java, and Scala is also there by comparing the structures and scenarios. And if you want to run with this Scala and if you want to learn about more this Scala means the things will be happens. Most of the companies are using the Scala nowadays to perform their actions. Suppose you can consider LinkedIn, Google, and we have to consider the SAP, Sony. Most of the companies are using the Scala as the basic general purpose programming tool to perform and to design a very efficient tolerant architectures or general purpose clusters. And on top of this, the Scala, if you want to maintain what is the basis of the Scala, and by using Scala what are the frameworks we are design, what are the things we have to able to work means the Scala is a basic programming tool for to execute the programs in the manner of Spark. I hope you guys will know the Spark as the basic tool on top of the Hadoop cluster. And if you want to work with the Spark, or we have most of the big data technologies like Star or something, we have Akka, and we have most of the programming tools are there. If you consider Play, scaling, we can consider a lot of the major tools which are basis for the Scala. On top of the Scala only, these are all the tools are working, and they are giving the services to the big data or any real-time analysis or applications. And the Storm is also performs the actions on top of the big data analytics to perform the fetching about the messages as the log processing in the lively manners. And Akka is also a general purpose tool. If you want to maintain this Java, Akka is also written in Java, and to perform the actions in a distributed or fault tolerant manner means we have to use the Akka. And the Play is also one of the web framework. If you want to design or if you want to get the productive environments, productive results on top of the Java and the Scala combination, then we have to use the Play as the basic web application development tool to take the help of Scala and Java only. It gives the higher results and higher efficiency by comparing with the another general purpose frameworks. And Scalding is also one of the API, Scala API on top of to work with the map reduce jobs on top of the Hadoop cluster. If you want to communicate or if you want to use the Scala as the basic tool, Scala is a basic API to work with the MapReduce jobs on top of the huge amount of data on Hadoop cluster. We have to use the Scalding or API to get the fetching about the iterations. And we have lot more tools are executing and up and running with the taking the help of Scala programming language itself. Let us have a simple look up how to start the Scala shell and how to involve in the Scala, how we can perform the actions in a paradigm manner. And we said that it contains both the things like a object oriented and functional things, and here everything will be as the Scala we are representing as an object itself. Yes, we are seeing as an object, and if you want to enter into the Scala mode, we have to install the Scala. We can download the Scala. We have some default website is there as the home page, and we can get that Scala is in a easy manner from the internet. After installing the Scala on top of our cluster, if you want, you can easily type the Scala as a simple command to enter into a Scala interactive shell. Fine. If you want, the Scala interactive shell is a major purpose tool if you want to perform the actions in a interactive manner. Suppose I want to perform the actions in a interactive. Suppose I want to store the value as 10. I want to keep it in somewhere the value is 10. Then if you type the Scala means it will enter into the Scala mode, Scala terminal, and the values that it will accept in the manner of interactive. Suppose if you want to store the value of 10 means how you can have to perform in the normal general programming languages. We have to take the data type and variable name, and we have to assign the value as 10. Yes, but here the Scala it doesn't includes the data types. However, Scala is a type inference language itself. It will be inferenced to the general purpose value. Suppose I am giving the x equal to 10. That's all. No need to give about the x value is a integer. If you give the x value as 10 itself, directly the Scala engine will takes the value and it indicates x is a integer and the value is 10. Like that, it will consider the value as integer based on the assigned value itself. For this purpose itself, we are saying this Scala is a type safe and type inference language with respect to the values. Whatever the value we are assigning to the variable, that Scala compiler itself takes the type of the data and it assigns the data type for the variable or something like value. And here suppose x is we are loading the 10. 10 is an integer. For this purpose itself, I am loading the x as an integer. Suppose again I am giving the value as some. If you want to give some string value, no need to give it is no need to declare about the variable as a string. You can directly give the object as directly the string. Suppose fine. No need to give about the semicolon also. Semicolon is also optional. You can directly keep out the enter. Fine. Directly the xyz value will copies into the y memory, y variable, and y is object notated to the xyz. It takes as a string only. Fine. Like this, we are maintaining the data in the manner of no need to mention about data types. Fine, everything we are related with the resultant data, everything we are maintaining in this manner only. Fine, on top of these illustrations we can also perform the actions. And if you want to declare these kind of things, normally we are calling these things as a variables. If you want to declare these variables and how we have to consider all these things, means we have two types of variables are there. If you consider both the things, means based on the mutable architecture itself, we have to divide the variable structures as two types. If you want to declare the object is a immutable, Scala supports both kind of data types like immutable and mutable. Both the contents it accepts. If you want to create a immutable value, if you want to immutable object in the Scala, means we have to use the keyword called val. Or else if you want to create the mutable things, means we can use the keyword called var. Var indicates a variable type with the reference of a mutable things, where I can change the values regularly or frequently. In the immutable means the values will be fixed, like in the Java also we are making use of a final variables, right? However, we have in a Java we have final variables, right? Means constant variables. Like this we are using the val in the Scala. If you want to create normal variables like non-final variables or normal variables, we are using as a var as a mutable things. Fine, let's have some simple look about how we can get the differentiation with the val and var. Suppose I am declaring the val and the value I am declaring a as 10. Fine, immediately if you want to change the value of a to 20, the Scala doesn't accept it. Why? Means val is a final content, immutable content, which doesn't accept the updations. How much, at what time, at what the things it has some scope. For entire scope, if the variable scope, the value of the any variable is fixed. If we declare the same kind of a with the reference of variable, fine, where a equal to, suppose I am taking the things like, if here you can declare the same things. I am not saying that you have to take the only integers. I can also consider strings. Right? And again I can give the value as xyz. It accepts. This is the concept of variable and values with respect to the mutable and immutable content on top of the Scala framework. Fine, I hope you understand the different kinds of variables. Fine, on top of this, again don't get confused about the statically type and dynamical type. Fine, here again I am giving the value as 10.25. Of course, as we are ready to change the value of the variable, it accepts of the same kind of data values itself. Of course, we are giving the different kind of values, or if you give the different kind of data types values, means it doesn't accept. Why? As the basic, the Scala it is a statically typed. Fine. If you give the values in the same data type manner, then it will usually takes it and it will perform the actions in a frequent manner. Fine. I hope you understand what is the difference between val and var. Based on the condition, you can use the val or var. That is the completely based on the client requirement, and wherever if you want to perform the mutable content or immutable content. For that purpose itself, I didn't give any recommendations like var is better or val is better. Fine. Suppose let's start the simple things, simple operations how you can perform in the Scala. If you want to perform in the shell mode, skill architecture, if you want to perform in the interactive mode, what we have to execute, what we have to do is we have to type the Scala. Okay, I entered the Scala. Now I am in Scala mode only. Fine. If you want to declare two variables and I want to perform some addition of two integers. Fine. How you can perform? Suppose I am taking a as 10. Itself, the system itself, the Scala engine itself take it as a x as a integer and the value is 10. Fine, and it counts the results with the result 0, result 1 like this. You can, if you log in with the interactive shell in your mode, means I will also show you in the practical manner how the output will look like. And if you consider the value b value is 20. Fine, now the both values are fixed and both are the integers, and I want to perform the addition of two integers. How you can perform? No need to maintain about the things, just perform the action as a plus b. It gives the value as 30. It executes the value and it gives the result as a plus b. Fine. No need to perform the different kind of options, and you can execute the manages like normal shell command mode only. Fine. And if you want to consider more in detail about this interactive shell, means we have to understand couple of things like related to the read, evaluate, print, loop. What is nothing but I am using some different kinds of 4 letters I wrote in the board, and I am saying these are the reading things. Read, evaluate, print, loop. It is a kind of mechanism where the Scala is going to evaluate in the manner of Scala commands. First of all, it will read the values from the data and it will try to evaluate the things. Then it will try to use the print output of the output in the manner of printings, and directly. And again, if you are giving any kinds of concepts which is related to the parent mode, means again we have to go for the looping concept. Fine. On top of this read, evaluation, printing, loop, the iterative mode, we have another mode is also there. If you want to perform if you want to execute these commands in a batch mode, or want to perform these things in a script mode, then we have to take if you want to load all these things in a single file with the extension called Scala. Fine. Same thing if you want to perform the both things. Suppose I want to perform these actions. I have taken some text document and I loaded the values are a equal 10, b equal 20 and a plus b, and I saved this entire content with the reference called hi.scala. Fine. This is my file name, and if you want to load these Scala commands or these Scala commands, you want to execute in the on top of Scala environments, means we have to use the command. Suppose still now I am not in the mode of Scala, still I am in the Hadoop mode only, something whatever in the normal terminal itself, the root folder only. From the root path I want to execute the Scala, means we have to use Scala and we have to execute hi.scala. Like this we can directly execute all the Scala commands, what are the content we have given in the Scala script. It will execute the entire script and will give the result as possible, it will give it. And we have some of the modes are there to execute the script also. We can also execute, if you give the Scala and hi.scala, means it executes the Scala and it again returns the, again still it will happens in the root path only. Again what is my requirement is, after executing these Scala commands, these script commands, I want to enter into the directly Scala mode only for the easy purpose. For this purpose itself I want to use the symbol notation attribute, that is I. What it will performs means, after executing hi.scala actions, it gives the print output in the panel in the Scala execution engine itself, and then it will directly enter to the Scala something like interactive shell mode only. Fine. In the Scala shell again you can check the data whether the hi.scala with the content will be executed or not, or everything will be, you can check with the basis only. Fine. Like this we can perform the actions in the interactive mode or in a script mode. Both things the Scala will accept and to perform the actions. On top of this we have some of the reasons are there, and what are the differences with the respective with the loading and executing the normal concepts. Let's have a simple lookup. Suppose if you want to load the multiple values into the Scala, no need to declare about the normal considerations, you can directly use the values like this. Suppose this is, now I am in the Scala mode only and I want to create the value is, I am taking the help of val. However, we are taking the variable is immutable object, we cannot change the value of the v1. Okay, with respect to the type. Okay, I am giving the v1 and I want to take the values as, I want to load 3 kinds of values. How we can use it? We can use simple list operator, list function, and we can load the things as a like this. Simple. No need to maintain about the values, and you can directly access the data. Fine. And if you want to access the list value also, you can access based on the feature or any kind of things, you can perform in the manner of executions.